Well, being raised Chinese, you know, my mother being Chinese, and having eaten Chinese food from when I was a little child, I have a different view of what Chinese food is than somebody who's only been to Panda, you know, and gets Chinese food warmed over.
Chinese food is terrible. It's horrible, it's unhealthy, it's greasy.
Occasionally, I eat Chinese food.
In DC, Chinese food was everywhere, and you would usually get it served from behind a bulletproof glass and handed to you through a bulletproof glass Lazy Susan.
It depends on the restaurant, and you know, but Chinese food in general, besides fast food, you go to high-end restaurant.
Like they're eating something completely different than what we're eating over here.
I usually eat Chinese food at smaller places.
Real Chinese food is you eat it as soon as it's ready. It doesn't sit in a big, you know, like cafeteria-style pan.
No, I've had terrible Chinese food in Chinatown in San Francisco. I've had terrible Chinese food in Chinatown in LA. So it's universally terrible.
Egg rolls, wonton soup.
And everything was just covered in brown, salty gravy.
Been to some restaurants that were Chinese fusion restaurants that were very high-end, and the prices were, you know, they were high-end prices, so it wasn't, you know, I think probably came out of there over $100 per person.
Right.
So I would not consider that fast food or low end.
Chinese food is low cuisine.
P.F. Chang's is Chinese food, in theory, right?
You know, they use real ingredients, they use real vegetables, and they prepare it in a wok.
Spring rolls, lo mein.
Chinese food is everywhere, it's universal.
You know, real fresh-made food.
Then it doesn't seem very healthy, and it's got a lot of, most of it is fried, and it's not my go-to food.
Chinese food is good.
But, you know, Seattle, Boston, New York, I know people that'll be like, hey, let's get some takeout. And they won't, and they'll be very specific. They'll say takeout, but they'll mean Chinese.
A lot of times people don't like it at first because it's different than what they're used to.
It's the quality. The quality is really bad. Terrible quality.
No, but I'm familiar with that breast.
Some of the popular Chinese dishes are U.S. inventions.
Fortune cookies.
Since my mother's family owned a restaurant in Chinatown, I was really lucky to grow up eating very good food.
Well, you call it Chinese food, so you would associate it with Chinese people?
This is my grandfather's restaurant in San Francisco. And then, here's my grandfather.
Ah, bitchin'. I'm getting ethnographic. Wait, put a little to the right. Ah, is that General Tso?
They try to cater to American tastes. So, when I was a little kid, in San Francisco Chinatown, one American favorite was tomato beef chow mein, because even though tomatoes weren't a part of Chinese food, the way it comes out was kind of like spaghetti, the closest thing to a Chinese version of spaghetti. But there's a whole way of eating and combining foods to make a meal, whereas Americans think of a meal as a big hunk of meat or a big piece of chicken and then sides of potatoes.
I just think of the shitty stuff. I've had good Chinese food a couple times.
Is it high or low cuisine?
Low.
I wouldn't say it's top quality food.
To me, food is food.
It's low cuisine. It's food for the proletariat, right? It's food for. I'm such an asshole. This is food for the migrant workers. This is good food for the peasants, Mao's peasants, right? This is what they were eating. This is why they're so pissed off. This is why they had to have a revolution.